guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to finally be following up on the results of my blood test. I told you guys I would do a video after I had been through the whole thing for about a month, and I think it's been a little bit longer than that. I have been getting some requests from you guys kind of on various platforms to, see how I'm doing on it, see if it's worth the money and everything like that. Plus, I don't know if I mentioned how much it actually cost, and so I'm going to talk about that a little bit as well. So I know that this kind of video isn't for everybody, and I'm sorry, skip to the next one, but there are a lot of people who really want to hear a follow-up on this. If you've got any kind of digestive issues or anything like that, then stay tuned. We're gonna talk all about it. So to recap, I took the MRT LEAP test, and it is a test that costs $295 and insurance does not cover it. So I have really great insurance, and this is completely extra to insurance. It is purely something that I wanted to do. A friend of mine did it, it really helped her, and so I've been having really bad stomach issues for a long time, and it mainly comes in the form of me eating something that I think is fine, and then having my stomach go immediately and just bloat out, and it was starting to give me crippling anxiety because it felt like everything that I ate that I thought was a good idea had something bad in it and I couldn't figure out why. And there was no amount of elimination dieting that was going to help me get to the bottom of the things that were really wrong. And so I did this LEAP test, and the results were surprising. A lot of things that I would never have been able to isolate through my own means of scientific elimination diets and things like that. There was no way that I was going to be able to figure out on my own that these things bothered me. And so I pretty much have them memorized at this point, but among them were things like onion, sweet potato, paprika, oranges, papayas, mangoes, S&B sulfite, which is the sulfites that are in wine, some of the stabilizers that are in jellies, cane sugar, huge, and a chemical that is in a lot of decongestants. Tapioca was one. I don't know, I think that there were a few more, but those are kind of the ones that have made a big impact on my life. One of the first ones that's huge, is cane sugar. The whole world is pretty leery of sugar right now, and I don't know if you guys watched, what was it called? What was the name of that documentary? There was a documentary that just came out that was basically paid for by the Sugar Bureau. You know what I mean? That's how it felt. It was all about being vegan as a means of being the healthiest you, and then they talked about how sugar just isn't a big deal, and I have to, at least for myself, completely disagree. And not just because I'm sensitive to it, but because I do think that sugar and simple carbs are the reason that our nation is overweight, because we basically eat things that are pre-digested, and so we absorb 100% of the calories from them while they're in our bodies, and we don't get any actual use and nutrition out of them, and so it's an incomplete experience for our bodies. There's a reason that we're supposed to kind of break food down in our body, not just eat Cheerios all the time. The point is, this gave me a really good excuse to completely cut out cane sugar. That doesn't mean that I'm not having sweet things. I am having coconut sugar, I can have corn syrup, I can have honey, I can have agave, I can have all these different kinds of sweeteners, I just can't have cane sugar. So I mean, actually, in some twisted way, I'm better off having a regular Coke than a Mexican Coke, even though I don't drink Coke at all. But it's kind of interesting that these things that we always, they always market Mexican Coke is well, it's made with cane sugar, it's better for you. Which soda's horrible for you, but it's better for you than this high fructose corn syrup, whereas high fructose corn syrup doesn't bother my body at all. And so ketchup is fine because it doesn't have sugar in it, it has corn syrup in it. So it's just really strange things that are very unexpected. And so cutting all of these things out of my diet has made an enormous difference. Not only that, if I do eat a little bit of them, I notice now that I have really eliminated most of those things from my diet. So as far as avoiding these things, sometimes it's just not possible. Paprika is in my mayonnaise, and I'm not compromising on my Duke's mayonnaise. Sorry, Duke's mayonnaise is the only mayonnaise that I will buy, and it has paprika in it, and I don't notice a really big impact from it. And I also don't eat a ton of mayonnaise, so I don't really know. Also, sugar is what's used to bloom yeast, so you always have to give yeast something to eat, essentially, in order for it to bloom so that you can make bread rise, right? And so there's always going to be a little bit of sugar in any bread. Also, most gluten-free bread has tapioca in it, but I did find a brand that does not, and that is the Schar, S-C-H-A-R brand gluten-free bread doesn't have any tapioca in it. It also doesn't taste as good as a lot of them, but it doesn't make me sick. And so I have been buying that at Central Market here locally. It was pretty much the only gluten-free bread that I could find when we were in Amsterdam. And so I had already tried it there. They also do croissants. They do frozen croissants that are outstanding. And if you are gluten intolerant and you haven't had bread in a long time, like a croissant is like a dream. It's like a distant dream that you could ever have pastry again, and they do a really great job of making a frozen croissant. So love that brand. Also, as far as the SMB sulfites are concerned, I put a video out last week talking about the wand. So that is the wine wand that essentially, they're pretty expensive, but you swirl one in a glass of wine and you leave it there for like somewhere between 3, 5, 8 minutes. 8 minutes to be totally on the safe side. And it takes all the sulfites and the histamines out of the wine, and so all that stuff that I feel allergic to stops happening. That does not, however, mean that I can just drink wine forever. It means that I can have 1 glass of wine without getting a headache. It doesn't mean that I can have 2 glasses of wine and not get a hangover. This is just who I am. But avoiding the other things is really interesting because, like, onions, right? Ubiquitous. They're in friggin' everything. And so, like, yeah, I'm gonna have some onions sometimes. I'm gonna have onion powder sometimes. I am a big fan of a good spice blend. My mom loves to gift those to us at Christmas time, really great spice blends. And 2 things that are in tons of spice blends are paprika and onion powder. They're in freaking everything because they taste delicious. And so it has been a little bit harder for me to kind of avoid those things, but like yesterday we did a potluck at work and it was brunch themed, and my coworker Nicole had made deviled eggs and she had the paprika out like you would always put on top of a deviled egg, and I was like, can you just have a few that don't have paprika on the top so that I can have some? And she's like, yeah. And so it's just kind of little awareness tweaks like that. Or, you know, I ordered my sandwich at Jimmy John's the other day and I just didn't get onions on it, and it made my life a lot easier. And when I say sandwich, I mean unwich. I have to get the sad lettuce wrap. But yeah, it's just been a really nice feeling finally knowing. You know what I mean? There's just some kind of really bad unease and anxiety about not knowing whether your next bite of food is going to make you sick. Can you imagine that? Like, and if you can imagine that, you know what I'm talking about. It is just so anxiety inducing. And my friend Bex, she's the one who originally told me to take this test. The reason that she took it is because she has food sensitivities that give her migraines. And so, like, while this stomach ache situation for me seems life-ending, like a migraine is actually day-ending. Like, you get a migraine from something that you ate and you're screwed. Like, I can't imagine how frustrating that must be to feel a migraine coming on and not know why. And it's because you have food sensitivities that you can't identify. Like, that would just be so insanely frustrating. And so this test can be kind of a game changer, life changer sort of thing for you if you are really sensitive to certain things, because eliminating these things from my diet, like, oh my God, it's incredible. Like yesterday, everybody had all of their brunch food, right, at my office, and we're all sitting around at our desks, and it's about 2:15, and like my coworker Ryan, he's like, I just yawned like 5 times in a row. And I was like, you gotta get up and get the blood flowing. And I realized, like, I'm standing at my desk. Everybody else is sitting. Most people are like pretty much ready to throw it in for the day. And it's 2:15 and I feel like I need to take a lap. I'm so energized. And that's the biggest difference that I've seen, is that, well, aside from the fact that my tummy's flat, such a great feeling, but also that I just have so much energy. It's like I stopped eating the things that were inconveniencing my system, and I would never have known that they did that on my own. And so this, while expensive, was the greatest thing that I've done in a really long time. Like, this will be a landmark moment in my life of when I started to actually heal. And the rewards of it I reap every single day, because, I mean, God, you know, I saw a new therapist yesterday, and she's like, you seem to really like to go. And I was like, yeah, but I have so much energy. Like, I totally understand that it's something that I need to rein in, because, like, I strive for kind of like extra perfection a lot of times, but having this much energy makes you accomplish so many things. Like I just always, like the next thing is exciting to me instead of the next thing feeling like it's a slog because I'm just obviously eating the things that are wrong for my body. If there's anything that I can drive home from this, it is that, guys, putting something in your mouth and ingesting it is the most invasive and intimate thing that you can do to your entire body. Just because there is a face hole that makes it easy to eat the thing does not mean that you shouldn't be really discerning in your brain about the things that you are permitting to enter your body, okay? Like, the universe creating us didn't really give us that many responsibilities. We put a lot of responsibilities on ourselves, you know what I mean? Like, we're like, okay, well, I need to get a job. I need to get a roof over my head. It'd be nice to have a relationship and feel good about myself and, you know, maybe seek enlightenment if, you know, all those things fall into place. But at the basic bottom of your, you know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is just taking care of the vessel that you were born in. And that has so much to do. In fact, it has like almost everything to do with what you choose to fuel it with. And so I just can't put a fine enough point on how strange it is that we permit and willingly ingest things that are just like horrible for us, like knowingly or unknowingly. Like, of course, I wanted to enlighten myself on this because I was obviously putting things in my body that were horrible for me unknowingly. But when I sit and watch people and they just kind of like indiscriminately shove things in their faces, I'm like, guys, like, that's your body. Like, would you just start throwing random things in the gas tank of your car? No, it might explode or it might break, not run anymore. Like, you put things in the wrong place, like the machine doesn't know what to do with them and it breaks. And so the fact that we have been bestowed with one real responsibility, right? And that is to make sure that we're putting the right fuel in the machine. It's not like, guys, you should always eat right and eat clean and don't eat meat and what. It's not so much that as it is, it's like your 100% responsibility to think of food that way. To think of food as, I need to be really discerning about what I allow in here. This needs to be a really important space that I guard with everything that I have to make sure that this is a really, really sacred space because this is literally what's running my entire life. So if you start to think about food that way, you start to think about it as like this really beautiful thing. Like it should motivate you to care about how you feel, and it gets you really in tune with like when you eat something and it doesn't do the right thing. Like, I think that part of the reason that I have even done these things is because my red flags are so unignorable. Like, I am just one of those people who happens to have really strong triggers when something's wrong. Like, my face breaks out, or I get psoriasis, or I get a horrible stomach ache, or I bleed internally. It happens. And like, to some degree that totally sucks, but to other degrees I am really, really lucky because my body has gone, guess what? When something is just slightly off kilter, we're going to really let you know so that you can go in there and you can figure out how to fix it. So start tuning into your body. That doesn't mean you need to go do an MRT leap test or anything like that, but it is so cool to know what makes you feel really good and what makes you feel not that good. And then you get to be that person who really protects this really beautiful sphere of energy that's inside of your body, because it's all of those tiny decisions that you have to be mindful about that are actually influencing what your life ends up being. And so that has so much to do with what we eat. Because you can't choose to just abstain from eating, right? You have to just choose the right things to eat. How I feel right now is the best that I have felt in years. A lot of people feel really sorry for me. They're just like, wow, I'm not sure that I would go and pay $300 to get bad news of all the things that I can't eat. And it's like, if you are sick enough, it's a miracle. And I know that a lot of people, that's not gonna reach them. They're gonna be like, I don't understand. I can eat anything I want. I've got an iron stomach, it's totally fine. But for every person out there like that, there's someone out there like me who's just like, someone please tell me what's wrong. Tell me what I can and can't eat because I'm losing my frigging mind. And so for those people out there, this test really works. I feel fantastic. I should mention, I did not do their weird circulation elimination diet thing that came prescribed with the thing. I went to the doctor that Monday, and she was amazing. She's a woman named Michelle, and she helped me kind of break it down, and she was like, first thing she did was say, what are your thoughts on it? Because, you know what I mean? It's just like a really nice way to kind of start the appointment, is just sort of like, hey, like, can you tell me where you're at on this? And I was like, I can't imagine eating millet and chicken for the next week. And she's like, I totally understand. And I was like, this diet is completely ridiculous. Like, she says, okay, there are a few ways that you can do this. One, you can follow this completely to a T and drive yourself insane, is what it sounds like it would do. She said you can also do the rotation diet kind of that's at the end of it, that's in like week 6 or whatever, and it just rotates them every day. Another one that just sounded terrible to me. And she's like, or you can just stop eating everything that's on your little card and see how it goes. And I was like, that one sounds doable. She's like, it works for most people. It's like, you're probably going to encounter things that you're not as sensitive to as you might think, or it matters what format it's in, like whether it's like a dried onion powder versus like a raw onion, or oranges versus orange oil or something like that, because they do tend to put like an orange peel in my Negroni. That doesn't bother me. Or like my skin doesn't break out if I use like an orange oil product on my face, but if I eat oranges, I just go, you know, in my stomach, or it makes me poop a lot. And so she really helped me clarify that, but also kind of let me off the hook on that insane, drastic, scary diet that I was talking about in the first installment of this video. So I didn't do that. I just stopped eating all the things that were on my little card, and I've been religious about it. I've had to cut out like shrimp and crab, like things that I really like. But just the results speak for themselves, and I just couldn't be happier that I did it. And so I think that this actually started out as like an athletic thing. Like, it was in order to design an ideal nutritional system for professional athletes, and it was for players to kind of be at their optimal health and their optimal nutrition, to understand what they were sensitive to, so that they never were like down and out with a stomach ache on, you know, game day or something. And so the fact that that's where it came from, this is pretty humble science, you know what I mean? This is just trying to kind of optimize your life. And that's what I feel like I've done. I've just kind of optimized my diet, optimized my life, and I can still eat almost everything that I really, really love. And I found some really cool solutions. That Hue chocolate that is sweetened only with coconut sugar, and it's not super expensive. I've definitely paid a lot for chocolate bars in the past, so like a $6 chocolate bar is a treat. Isn't that crazy? I can still eat sushi as long as I stay away from like crab and shrimp. I can still eat my avocado toast that I am just so obsessed with. And I mean, I made, for our brunch, I made like a gluten-free frittata. I just didn't put any onions in it. And it was delicious. I can still have all my cheese, all my dairy, all, you know, there's just a lot of stuff. Like, you know, I can eat pretty much every meat except for lamb. I don't know why lamb would bother me, but I can't have lamb. I've eaten venison since then, and it was fantastic. So, yeah, I think that for people who are suffering with a lot of just like anxiety and confusion around what they can and can't eat without having a reaction, this is like so worth the investment. I can't even say enough about it. So find a doctor in your area that offers the MRT Leap test. Maybe ask around, see who's like really knowledgeable about it, because I think that what was really complete about my experience, sorry, my nose itches really bad. What was really complete about my experience was that the doctor that I dealt with was so well versed in it. She'd been doing it for 13 years, and she just really knew how to kind of talk you off the ledge when you were just like, this is terrifying, and like she really explained to you like what the test really does, because what it really does is give you a basic amount of foods that you can go to when you don't know what's working anymore. Like, you can go and kind of test other foods that aren't on the test and just like see if they piss your body off or not, but you always have like a safe bank of foods that you can go back and eat and know that it's not going to piss your stomach off. So it's like you can always go and get back to center, which is the hardest thing for me. So guys, if I can find some information about this, then I will stick that below. I will also link to the doctor that I went to if you are local to Austin, but I highly recommend going through your general practitioner. A girl talked to me on Instagram about doing it. She was going to do it through a nutritionist, and nutritionists don't take insurance most of the time, and so you're going to end up paying a much higher appointment visit fee, and you'll probably end up paying more for the test, and so you might as well go through your general practitioner so that you can just pay a regular copay if you're insured. My copay is like $15, and then I paid, you know, the $295 for the test, and then I had to pay $40 for the blood draw. Great. And so all in all, it netted out to probably about what would that be? yeah, it came out to about $350, $360. So it's a lot, but it's a game changer. It's a life changer. It's something that I'm so freaking happy that I did. If you guys have any additional questions about my results or the process or just anything, throw those down in the comments below. I'm happy to answer as much as I can. But guys, if you appreciate this video, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe. I'd love it if you did. I am running a giveaway right now for reaching 2,500 subscribers because you guys are so awesome. And so I will link that video down below as well. And guys, I hope you're having a delightful week. I hope that this video is helpful for you. And guys, I love you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.